this year and the next year and the year after. And we're gonna start to hear some of these ideas come our next meeting. This has gone on long enough, and it's time for change.
If I could.
Yes.
I'd just like to respond to a few of your comments, Mr. Chair. I think if you looked at those figures, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm going to say I think, if you looked at those figures of the officers that made the higher salaries, you would probably find that 75% of that money was not paid by the town. It was paid by outside details, phone, light, whatever. And now that's a total estimation on my part.
No, I agree with you. I don't disagree with that.
Okay. Well, hold on if I could, please. When you lower the detail rate, you're gonna lower the money coming into the town. Because you have to remember, on an outside detail, the town gets a 10% stipend. So you will be lowering the money that's actually coming into the town. I've had information given to me that the flagman Boston is planning on using $39 an hour. And that's with no police authority whatsoever. So if our detail rates are from 42 to 53, if we're lucky enough to have a $42 an hour person out there, I think for $3 an hour, we're getting a heck of a lot more coverage and authority on that street. I just cannot see it. And again, I understand what you're saying about we have to cut, but it's bargained into their contract. This is their details and this is their rates. And I think that, I know you're gonna disagree. I just think it's wrong to, I think we should have went to them and said, we'd like to open the contract and speak with you. I really wanna know if legally that this can even be done.
As far as the contract issue, you know, the police union should be pretty hard pressed to be critical of our willingness to sit down and negotiate in good faith with them when they held up those contract negotiations because of their internal squabbling and their decertification votes that they were taking for over a year and a half, almost 2 years. So as far as bringing new issues up, and that contract was settled 2 years retroactive. So that issue, I have no concerns with. You know, we want to talk about it going forward, that's fine too.
How can you say that? It's a totally different issue, Steve.
No, you were saying they were concerned because they have a signed contract and they negotiated in good faith.
Yeah, but it's a signed contract.
You know, it was
totally
2 years outdated. 2 years outdated, and through no action of this board or this administration.
I know that. I agree.
Totally of their doing. We were very patient with them. You know.
I agree.
You know. So, you know.
Then it got signed, and then we're supposed to honor it.
It got signed, and it's done.
And we're supposed to honor it.
We do honor it. We are honoring it.
Up until this.
No, we're still honoring it. We're still honoring it because, again, we're not taking away any of their rights or benefits under the collective bargaining agreement. It might be taking away, might be taking some opportunity as far as opportunities.
That's right.
You know, but it's not taking away any of their rights under the collective bargaining agreement. It just, what we're doing is we're saying, let us take a look at, to save your constituency out there some money. If you've got people who are being charged police officer details to have a driveway hot-topped, they're going to have to pay anywhere between $43 and $52 an hour, as opposed to getting a flagman. Yes, the utilities, but those costs are passed right back onto our constituency. Right. And as far as the town getting the additional 10% stipend on this thing as far as administrative costs, that doesn't bother me. Lose it.
They will.
Lose it. That's okay.
We're trying to bring money in, I guess I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, but not at the expense of whom?
Huh?
At the expense of whom? You know?
Like
the
company,
same people are paying for it.
company,
You and
gas company.
you and I through our tax dollars, and you and I as regular participants in getting some vendor services out there, we're paying for it. We're paying for it anyway. So if someone's going to realize some savings, let it be the taxpayers. And again, we may not be bringing revenue in here, but that's okay.
Yep. All I can say is, gentlemen, get the people to town meeting so we can defeat this.
Again.
All I can
That'll
say
make for a good town meeting.
Yeah, I hope
Fully
it does.
representative. Yes, Michael.
in light of seeing some things and some numbers over the last couple of weeks, and since we've done this and hearing some things and talking to constituents in the town, I don't feel like I can support this the way it is right now either. I think we need to take a little look at this, and I'd like to table it and take a look at it at a later date after we've had some time to see some hard numbers and what's going to happen.
Do you have a suggestion as to another way of handling it?
Well, I have a couple, but I don't know if they're feasible. I mean, I need to do a little bit more looking at some things. I mean, certain I mean, I think we could do it a different way, by going back to the table with the police officers in in collective bargaining. I don't know, the way it stands right now, I don't think I can support it. I mean, I'm not completely against it if it comes down to it and the numbers work. Hell, that'd be fine, but I don't know.
Does work in relation to what?
I mean, from what I hear, the state police officers in Massachusetts have a flat rate of about, what, $42, $49, $40? And from what I've heard, flagmen cost about $36 an hour, with benefits and everything. So, I mean, the numbers might not be there. I'd like to take a look at it for a little bit longer.
Well, the union certainly has an opportunity to present it on, offer to come to the board and say, you know what, we'll be willing to cap our rates at $40 an hour. And then I'd take a look at it then.
I mean, I
Over
just
the
think...
past contract negotiations, we've been trying to cap detail rates for years and haven't been successful in doing so, other than with the superior officers. A couple of contracts ago, they capped it at $50 an hour for a short period of time. Other than that, which were two officers, the two lieutenants. Other than that, we have had no success in negotiating any type of a cap on the detail rate. And again, the only detail rates that it really affects are those to the outside vendors. Because if they're performing a detail for the town of North Reading, they're getting time and a half.
Well,
Anyway.
I'd also like to see...
That didn't change, this doesn't change anything.
Well, I don't know. I just think we can take a look at it a little bit longer before we do anything.
If that was a motion, Mike, I'll second it. I don't know if it was a motion or not. I'll second it.
I don't know if I could move to table it or not.
Sure you could.
You make a
You
motion.
You can have a
I-
motion to withdraw it, isn't it?
I'd move to table this and withdraw it until a later date.
I'll second that.
And get some further
Motion made
information.
by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Vino. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No? No. Looks like we move forward with it.
Can we get an answer?
I think some of the questions that were asked
Yeah.
need answers
I
to.
just want to know
clearly.
if that's legal, what town council said.
Sir, I see the section you're looking at.
And Greg, I would anticipate that flagman rates would be far lower than $39 or $36 an hour. Could you come up with some numbers based on some companies that provide these services?
Not too many in Massachusetts.
There's
We're the
none?
only state in the union that
So-
doesn't allow them.
So you can't use a New Hampshire rate down here?
No.
Well,
Why
how
not?
can you, with the cost of
No,
living?
because,
and
no,
everything?
I disagree
Go to
with you.
Maryland.
I would anticipate respectfully that
Rhode
the
Island.
state, because they control the prevailing wage rate, will establish a category for flagmen. And it'll be a statewide rate, similar to labor rates for construction projects. There'll be a rate that'll be established.
So it's a dead issue before it even gets off the ground.
Well, no, we'll have to look at what that rate of pay would be, but no doubt the state will, similar to any construction project. They mandate that the people will be paid a certain wage rate, which is always in excess of what we would normally pay for labor. This is how the world conducts itself. Public projects.
It's time to vote down the,
Prevailing wage.
no, the income tax.
Oh, my God.
You think you have problems balancing your budget now?
No, I think it's an opportunity.
Shrink government?
Shrink government and to, I'd be delighted to vote on an override or pay a, town income tax. Think about it.
Well, at least you know when winter would go.
No, it's, we got $8 million we get from the state for, Chapter 70 and, lottery, roughly,
Eliminate one
right?
channel?
We have, if we use 4,000 households, I'm using round numbers, it's $2,000 per household. I bet you most households pay more than $2,000 in state tax.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a, why give it to them so they can funnel it back to us when we can just spend it ourselves?
Well, they can
And we
funnel
don't
it
get
back
all
to
of
us
it.
inefficiently. Obviously, it pays for other things, but, you know, these kinds of things get my blood boiling when, you know, the state sets rules that continues to cost us money, and then,
Doesn't cost them anything.
you know, and we're in this, death spiral.
You may recall 20 years ago, there was a bumper sticker that said, "Question 4 is bad for you." That was an attempt to repeal the prevailing wage law by initiative petition, and then ended up losing.
Is Carla Howell behind that one too?
I come to the conclusion when government gets to the point where 51% of the, or 50% of the people in the country work for the government in one form or another, then it's over. It's over. Anyway, I don't know how to get off on that subject. I just, my blood boils when, you know, I see this kind of waste and I say, you know, we're trying to provide education for our kids, maintain a level of services for the community, and everything is working against us. It just doesn't make sense. And every time we try to do something to change that, someone comes up with,
Did you vote for Ron Paul, Mr. Chairman?
no, I did not. Anyway. All right, so it stays on here, but we need clarification.
And I will estimate the pay rates for the next week.
Sewer construction project, I haven't heard, I meant to
Just
ask.
simply a placeholder.
I think it's gonna end up, being passed over. Rescind bond authorizations, this is to, come up
Very
with some.
minor balance for the police station tech communications equipment. The amount is very small, but the treasurer would choose to wipe it off the books.
Right. And when it's wiped off the books, then it becomes available, or is it money that hasn't been?
It's not $260. Funds that were not.
$260.
$260. It's
Oh, all right.
funds that were never borrowed. So
Yeah,
we
okay.
estimated that we would spend X amount of money, the bills came in, the money, the bans were issued.
So it's a
You can
no-brainer.
divvy that up any way you want.
Yeah.
But you are correct in terms of monies, if there were monies that were in hand,
Have we gone through other articles going back?
that's
I
what
know.
we're in the process of doing, is going back and looking at other articles, press ons and such, so that we can get back to the money.
Okay. Any other issues regarding town, we're gonna have public hearing on this, next week.
from now.
What?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
When do we
Mr.
sign it?
Jones, you have?
When do we sign it? 2 weeks.
So we've got a lot of, do we need to have, I guess my question is, do we need to meet next week? Is there anything that we need to do?
We can certainly refine and further refine these articles and get back to you about funding sources without necessarily having a meeting.
Okay, could we do that?
Certainly provide
So that we can, you know, we'll have a lot to do on the, and we don't have any choice but to get it done because we've gotta go to press. We gotta
Plus we
print the
have the-
warrant
Finance planning team.
Financial advisory.
on the
Finance
15th,
advisory
right?
committee also.
Yeah, that's gonna
reporting to
take
us.
up some time, so. We'll just have a long meeting. All right, next item on our agenda is.
TA.
TA report.
Yes, there's a copy of it that was in your packet.
Yep.
White paper. Fairly brief, so I'll go through it quickly. The board had raised concerns at their last meeting about the Chapter 40B project on Mount Vernon Street, and I've confirmed that the work is supposed to begin on the intersection and sidewalks at the end of this month and be completed no later than mid-October. The building department is aware of it, and they're prepared to withhold occupancy on the final occupancy permits until this work is done on time and nobody's going to answer the question. Number 2 is some good news, where the tax collectors informed me that the property at 135 Chestnut Street is sold. This previous property owner had